Howdy y'all, welcome to the studio. My name is Dylan with Dyll.Illustrations. Today we're going to start something brand new in which I attempt to make a coloring book page for my daughter. She's really enjoying drawing with Dad right now, and my wife thought this would be a good way to involve her. I thought it was a great idea too. So we're going to start here, and maybe we can make this a series of videos, but for right now I hope I can just teach you something new today. So let's get started. So today we're going to start at the very beginning. My daughter's favorite animal right now is the hedgehog, and it got me feeling nostalgic about my childhood, where I got started with my favorite animal being the hedgehog for the longest time was with Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game series and the comic series, as you see here, by Archie. I'm finding it pretty ironic that it's called The Beginning, but what we're going to be looking at today is within this collection of books. So we're going to open this up here, and they have a reprint of the very first cover from the very first issue of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now I'm going to be taking some elements of this and using them in my own composition. It's not going to be a one-to-one recreation, just a reinterpretation. I think that's the best place to start, is just finding something that you really enjoy and just practicing with that. Eventually you get to the point like we're doing today where you can take some of those elements and just put them in different places, or you can go with a character and take them in a brand new direction. And we'll begin. I started out with Strathmore Mixpedia paper, 0.07 Pentel graphing pencil, and some Sakura micron pens to bring this into reality. You don't need fancy tools to make something like this happen. You can use anything: notebook paper, gel pen, a number 2 pencil. The only thing you need is an imagination. As you can see, I've gotten a head start here. Sonic's pretty much filled out, and I have a good idea of where my foreground and my background elements are going to be. What I would recommend is, as soon as you pin down where your characters are going to be and what type of shapes they all are, work from the foreground backwards, as the foreground is going to take a lot of time, as it's going to have more detail. What you're trying to do is you're trying to emulate the way you would look at things in real life, the depth that they all have. So that informs the decision making on how you want your drawing to appear. So for example, if I wanted wood grain on this bridge, it'd be a lot more appropriate to have wood grain on the bridge than hyper detail in the forest elements in the background. So start out with the front, as it will be the one that's going to take the most time, and the rest of it just kind of falls together naturally as you get that pinned down. Here we have the loop-de-loop from the front cover, and that's kind of the signature for the very first level of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm trying really hard to make this composition take more from the original video games than I am the comic books. Again, do with whatever you want. If you want to go a little more closely related to the comic book cover, that's great too, but just have fun with it. So we're going to add a little bird friend here that Sonic's rescued from Dr. Robotnik, and we're probably going to add some robots that have been, wrecked by Sonic, as in the video game, Sonic frees the animals by destroying the robots. So now we're going to build more out on Sonic's hands. Hands have always been kind of difficult for me, if you're not going for a straight balled up fist. So these look a lot better than my hands that are open, making poses, pointing. It's easier. It's a balled up fist. And here we go with the other hand. Looking back on it now, I probably should have had him doing a thumbs up or something just to make it a little more interactive with the crowd. But 2 fists balled up, running along this bridge here. And now I'm adding his legs, which at this point move so fast that they've turned into wheels. Started building out a cloud of dust that he's kicked up. You can start seeing how it's more original than the comic book cover. There's just a little more going on here and a lot less going on. I've opted out of drawing his legs for his signature wheel, I guess is the way to put that. And I've gone with the more modern design of Sonic 2. I'm a big fan of the classic design myself. I really like the whole Felix the Cat, Mickey Mouse thing they were going for way in the beginning. But the modern one has its own flair, and I think it's more appropriate. It's the one most well-known, I think. The Sonic the Hedgehog series was quite inspirational to me growing up, especially the Archie comic series and Saturday morning cartoon, as it took the bare bones designs and concepts from the games and really hammered home a stronger narrative. In the video games, especially at the time, you wouldn't see such narrative depth. It was really point A to point B, get as many points as you can and go on to the next level. But in the TV show, it took that concept of Sonic fighting against Dr. Robotnik and his need to industrialize everything and really added flavor to that. In the TV show and comic series, Sonic already lost the fight against Dr. Robotnik when Dr. Robotnik overthrew the kingdom that he lived in, and it was his responsibility, Sonic's and his band of freedom fighters, to stop Dr. Robotnik from turning all the residents of the kingdom into robots and overtaking the world. And it was because of that it really just inspired me a lot, especially as the comic book series overtook the television show when the television show was canceled. It went on a lot longer, and due to the format of a monthly comic book, you could really just see a bigger and deeper world than you could ever, see in either the TV show or the video games. You'd have a world-ending cataclysm where Sonic had to stop the evil doctor in one issue, and then the next month you would have a simple slice of life drama story that fed into the larger plot. You'd see Sonic and Knuckles and all their friends with their families, and how the writers were able to take these simple concepts and add so much just really inspired me as I'm attempting to write stories with my own characters and, make scenes that really work well in the medium of sequential art. And I think it's a lot to do with how well Archie was able to make that world building work. I'm not going to say that all of it was good. It get a little wild sometimes, but it really did its best to develop some elements and develop the world in the way that the video games just never did for the longest time, and they're still kind of tepid on developing anything like that now. And I think the best example of that has to be when Sonic finds out that his uncle developed the process for turning residents of Mobius into robots. Uncle Chuck had the idea that this was for medicinal purposes, but he found out that Dr. Robotnik sabotaged it to strip the will and individuality of those who were subjected to it, and it just, it showed that you could have something deeper and a little more, in this case, darker, for characters that are so simple and sometimes look really silly. I mean, it all looks really silly, but, if it was willing to take itself seriously like that and show kids that things like that could be taken seriously, I think that was really to its credit. I don't think a lot of children's media are willing to show something so serious. you'll pick it up the intuition as you go along. Right now you can see that it works out way better just to do a straight 1-for-1 on the lines. I'll show you soon where it's probably a better idea to have that texture, but for now just sit back and watch as I fill the rest of this out. I do apologize for that cut to where it was kind of not very well designed, and now it's way more filled out, and it went even further than what I was first expecting. But I think it turned out really well here. Just kind of feels really alive. You see where animals are being freed from the robots. You see a little animal just hanging out at the bottom there, watching the heroics go on. But I really enjoyed being able to make it as lively as it can, because that is probably where I'm the most limited at, is getting real energy and real life from what I'm drawing. Now here is where how I was talking about how you may add some style to your pen strokes. This is where it really comes into play, and I was really proud of how this turned out. So I was really trying to get the idea across that he was really burning up the road, really tearing up the bridge as he was running along. So it kind of comes out to more like gear teeth, spokes on a wheel, and I was trying to get it down to where it was really showing some serious speed. So as you can see here with like the flick of the wrist, I'm really trying to get that point across. And that is kind of the idea that you run into, in the problem you run into sometimes, is it's not just you trying to fill in lines, but really try to convey a message with said lines, movement, texture, maybe just something as simple as style. But I was really impressed with how this turned out. And we'll just finish these out as we continue to work on the rest of the scene. you'll see me, especially now, rotating the page and moving the page along. It really helps to get a better grip on the page, if that makes sense. You're trying to get the lines as smooth as possible, and the easiest way to make that happen is by rotating it along with your hand. Because if you try to rotate your hand along the page, those lines don't get as tight, and they start losing the power that you're looking for. So definitely make sure you're rotating the page along with your hand, just to get a better feel for the page. And here it is finished. This was a lot of fun, and I hope that you took something away from this. I know I did. That example with the legs was probably the first time that I took a serious risk with a pin in a while. I'm glad you could join me today. Tell me what you're working on in the comments. And would you like me to go over how to color something like this? Let me know. If you are looking for any of my work, if you're looking to work with me, you can check me out on Instagram, Wanna Create, or check out my email. It will be in the link below. Hit the like and subscribe buttons if you want to see something more. And until next time, draw something.